So you've got your commentary. You're definitely doing it with Alan. Okay.
I'm going to do it with this hat on. I don't see what the problem is with the hat.
Hello, music fans. How are you doing? Welcome to Full Record Jacket with me, Phil, and he, the Ben. And you join us on a rather chilly December night here in Britain. You can see I've got a little bit of tinsel behind me, and Ben's wearing his woolly hat.
I've got a woolly hat on. Do you like it?
It's very Coventry City, which is what I expect from you, really.
There we go.
Didn't expect any other football team, but
No. I bought it the other day. I went to the game on Wednesday, and I forgot my hat, and I was a bit worried that my little temple was going to get cold, or temples, because, And so I walked myself down to the club shop, and I bought this hat, which cost about as much as our new striker's going to be. So we're tagging Coventry City. I'll see if I can get a free hat next time.
bit more money into the Premier League.
Yeah. Well, we're not in the Premier League.
Oh, no, not in still in the Championship.
We're in the Champion. Yeah, it's okay. Just rub salt into the wounds.
But you'll be getting back in there soon, won't you?
Oh, yeah. At some point in the future, when the other 92 clubs have all given up.
In the next century or so. Yeah, sometime this century.
Well, thanks for cheering up my Christmas.
That's fine, any old time. So we are here to discuss not Coventry City, but another of Ben's lifelong passions, the music of Noel Gallagher, and specifically his high-flying birds, because we're talking about, I was about to say new album, came out in June, didn't it?
June the 2nd?
Council Skies. And there is a football reference in the artwork to this album, because I believe that the roundabout on the front cover used to be the centre circle of Main Road Football Ground. Is that correct?
It is indeed. Yeah, the band equipment set up in the middle there.
Isn't it
in
mad.
The council estate? Isn't it something like Europe's biggest council estate or something?
Something like that. But of course, Noel Gallagher and Liam Gallagher, fans of Manchester City, and of course they played a gig as Oasis played a big gig there. Was it 1996?
90
or 95?
6. April 96.
The sort of homecoming gig in their favourite football ground, and that ground is just gone. Mad, isn't it?
It's disappeared. They did play Old Trafford Cricket Club, and they refused to put Old Trafford on the tickets. So it was
okay.
So they put it down as Lancashire Cricket Club. I think that was a gig in would have been for, I think, the Don't Believe the Truth tour, somewhere around then anyway. So rivalry runs deep.
So we're talking about Noel on his own. Well, I say on his own. He's got this band moniker, but it's basically him writing all the songs and singing them. And Council Skies came out in June this year. It got pretty good reviews from the critics, didn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was just the Telegraph or somebody like that gave it a bit of a stinker rating. But
someone was a party pooper, but the rest gave it. Got 4 stars, 5 stars in some areas, but it was certainly acclaimed.
I've got my copies behind me.
Go on, you grab one. While I ask, where do you think this stands?
Grab one. I've got 3. Look.
So, in terms of the solo output of Noel, where do you think this is standing? Some are saying it's the best thing he's done since Oasis, which is a bit of a backhanded compliment, isn't it, really? Because it makes it sound as if they're saying everything else he's done has been rubbish and he's only just done something decent.
I would say, and it's very hard to rank them, because they're all individually great pieces of work, which you'd expect me to say anyway. But I really like not Holy Mountain, Who Built the Moon. I think that's a really good album. I know Liam Gallagher called it, is it Cosmic Jazz or something like that? So, but I really do like that album. It's up there. It's in the top 5. I would say it's probably my second favourite after Who Built the Moon.
I know some fans went off a little bit of his solo stuff because they thought his songwriting wasn't quite up to scratch, or they didn't like some of the styles he was doing. But I quite liked it when he did that, was it Black Star Dancing?
Yeah, the EPs.
He went a little bit dance. He went a little bit electronic.
Yeah.
A bit funky. I quite liked that. I think maybe it's just because it was so different to Oasis. I thought it was kind of quite good that he did that.
Was it Black Star Dancing? Was that which? Because there's one of those 3 EPs. Because there's Blue Moon Rising, Black Star Dancing, and This Is the Place. Wasn't there one of them that was quite Bowie influenced and have the bass line or the guitar riff from a Bowie song?
Yeah, well, I've spotted a riff from another song on
in
this
another.
album.
But like Noel Gallagher to borrow stuff.
Yeah, would you believe it? A little bit of borrowed tune or lyric or riff from another song in an old.
Talent borrows, genius steals.
Well, it's all part of the fun, isn't it, with his stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been listening to this. I must admit, I didn't really listen to it properly when it came out. I have had it on in the last couple of weeks, quite often in the car. So I probably haven't had a proper hi-fi experience of it, but I've been trying to hear the songs and get into the songs. You've obviously listened to it more times than me.
Well, I've got it on that version. Now, these two may look the same, but they're clearly not, Phil.
It's one mono, one stereo.
Yeah, this is the left.
Is it like
this
a
is 60s? The right.
Yeah.
No, this is the deluxe one.
Okay.
This is the standard 10 tracker. And then I do have it on another limited edition vinyl, splatter vinyl somewhere. So
yeah, we've seen that somewhere on one of these videos.
Yeah, so I do have one or two.
If you really want to see Ben's splatter, we'll put a link to that in the comments.
I'm literally a marketing man's dream. It's
basically,
like, I'm glad I'm not a Stones fan with Hackney Diamonds and all the different versions of that there is. I'll be broke.
Well, they've just done this Paul McCartney album, the McCartney 3 album, that was his lockdown album. Had its third anniversary of McCartney 3, so they decided to do something for that. So they put out an LP, which comes in funky colours, doesn't it? It's got, it's a different design on the front
Looks
cover.
like the Simon Says game from the 80s.
Yeah, and you get some of his lyrics or copy of his handwritten lyrics in it and whatever. But they've done 3 different versions of the vinyl, 3 different colour patterns on it. And when you order one, you don't know what you're going to get. So,
like buying Panini football stickers.
Yeah, so Noel Gallagher needs to do that, doesn't he? And what he needs to do is say, there's 3 types, you don't know which one you're going to get, but keep sending you the same one each time, so you'll just keep on buying it, trying to get the other ones. That's a tip for Noel.
That's how it works.
If he wants to double his bank balance, then...
Look, I'm already having to wear a hat inside because I've spent it on this instead of heating.
So let's delve into this album. I got some notes track by track, but I must admit I wrote these a week or so ago, and I've maybe changed my view on some of them since then.
Well, I will agree with Noel that because Noel did say that we're going to get there in the end should have been the opening. Not we're going to get there in the end.
You're talking about the closing track.
Is it Think of a Number? What's the last?
Think of a Number is the last track. Yeah, track 10.
that should have been the opening track. That should have been the opening one.
Yeah,
I think.
well, I listened to it today with that in mind because you told me that the other day.
Yeah.
That he thought that the opening and closing track should perhaps have been the other way around. I can see why that Think of a Number he used it as a closer because it kind of works well as a closer. But then it could have worked as an opener as well.
I think they're almost interchangeable, aren't they?
They're a bit interchangeable. I suppose the thing with I'm Not Giving Up Tonight is quite a low-key opener, isn't it?
Yeah,
for the album. But then the album itself is kind of low-key, isn't it? This is not, this is not a rock and roll album. This is a fairly reflective album. So you could argue that it's an appropriate opener. Because it doesn't, it's not like starting with a rocker and then having 9 more mid-tempo reflective songs and conning people into thinking that they're going to have a knees up when they're not. I thought it was a good opener. I think that's got strings on, hasn't it? Didn't he record this in his home studio? But he had the strings done at Abbey Road. Is that right?
Yeah, the strings were done at Abbey Road. The rest of the track was done at Lone Star Studios, his new studio.
And that's his first one that he's done at home.
What album?
Yeah. Or has he
I
done
think
something?
so, yeah.
Has he done something in Lone Star Studios before? Stop it! You'll set me off.
Yeah.
No, I quite
No,
like
the
this.
strings were done at Abbey Road though.
No, I quite like the second song, "Pretty Boy," which has been on the radio a fair bit over here in the UK.
So get your head down, pretty boy.
It's one of those songs that when you first hear it, you think, "Oh, is it going to build up into something more?" And then
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't really build up into something more. But then actually, it's quite addictive as it is. It's
Yeah, yeah.
it's fine as it is. And I think is this the one that Robert Smith from The Cure has remixed?
He remixed it. It's also got Johnny Marr on guitar on this one.
He's on the original.
He's
Okay.
on the original, yeah. But Robert Smith from The Cure remixed it, which is quite a thingy for Noel Gallagher because he's a big fan apparently of The Cure,
Yeah.
but he's also big friends with Paul Weller, and Paul Weller really doesn't like Robert Smith from The Cure, does he?
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah.
Okay. Is that like a personal thing, or is he just not like Men in Lipstick?
I think it's. I can't remember what the actual feud is over, but it must get really thingy for Noel when he's thinking about who to invite over for a dinner party.
Yeah.
So I think I know what it is. I think that Paul Weller has told Robert Smith to get a haircut. Come on, you're in your 60s. Look a bit cooler. Get your
Could be.
haircut, mate. Possibly. But yeah, no, he did the remix anyway.
Does the remix add anything?
I think the remix is really good. And
I
I'm
must
not
check it
one,
out.
when you used to get a CD single and you'd get you got with the later Oasis singles where you couldn't have 4 tracks because of chart rules.
That's right.
But remember, when you used to buy a CD single, it'd be like a 12-minute remix, and you're like, I am never listening to that. I'm not a remix kind of guy. But I did enjoy the remix of this, to be fair. So well done, Robert Smith. There's a career for you.
I'll check it out. I'll take it. It's not a dance mix or anything like that. It's just a sort of a different version, a different style.
Yeah,
different sound.
it's more, would I say, up tempo than the original? But it's good. You should go give it a listen. I think it starts off a bit acoustic-y, if I remember rightly. It sort of starts off but it's more. I don't know the best way to describe it, Phil. It starts off acoustically, and then it's just a little bit different.
It's a bit different. Okay. Well, we'll check that out. I think you can stream it. I did notice it is streamable. So
I think Noel's lyric vocals in it are slightly more distorted to it. I think it's. Could it be? I think it's slightly slower, maybe. But yeah, go give it a listen. It's worth it.
now the next track, "Dead to the World," this is a bit more downbeat, isn't it? From what I can remember.
Yeah, yeah.
And this struck me that there's a few songs on this album that are very similar to. I must admit, I didn't get deeply into some of the later Oasis B-sides. I think obviously the later Oasis B-sides weren't quite as good as the classic 90s ones.
Yeah.
But around the time of Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, there were quite a lot of Noel sung B-sides that were...
Angel Child demo. Wasn't that
Yeah,
one
there
of
was
them?
also... I'm thinking of
Or
things
was
like...
that from Be Here Now,
I think
Angel
it's Be
Child?
Here Now. I'm thinking of things like One Way Road.
Yeah.
One Way Road and...
Cigarettes in Hell.
Yeah, yeah. And it always felt... I know he'd done these songs on the B-sides all the way through, really. I mean, obviously the ones that people think of are like Half the World Away and Talk Tonight.
Yeah, Talk
But
Tonight.
those sort of mid-period ones that are not quite so well known, it was almost as if Noel was starting his solo career on these B-sides.
Turned into George Michael.
Yeah, it was sort of like, you could almost make a Noel album from some of these B-sides, couldn't you? Put them all
Yeah.
together.
Are you saying Talk Tonight was Noel's Careless Whisper?
No, not quite. There's no sax solo, you see. It isn't quite. So, but yeah.
Do you think anybody out there has ever gone, oh, my favourite artist, what's that? Oh, Kenny G.
No, probably not. No, that's how sax. You don't really want sax to be like that. You want it to be like Bobby Keys on the Rolling Stones songs or Jim Horn on the Duane Eddy records. That's what you want. That's what you want sax to be like.
horn
So yeah,
sax.
it struck me as soon as I heard this album. I thought this is one of those albums. The first time I played it through, I thought it was good. I didn't dislike it. Quite enjoyed listening to it, but I thought this is definitely one of those albums that's going to have to grow on you, and probably
It's quite
over
emotionally deep, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I've been listening more. Perhaps some of my listens have been a bit more on the surface, but it is one of those that I think it's just going to grow on you. Some of these songs you'd have to listen to many times before you really get into them. That's how it feels for me, anyway.
Yeah.
Open the door, see what you find. That's a bit more mid-tempo.
I think that's got Johnny Marr on guitar as well. That one.
Has it? I must listen out for that.
I'm pretty sure he's on that one, and I think Council Skies. I think he's on the title track as well.
Okay, because this segment of the album, there's quite a lot of worlds and finding worlds. There's Dead to the World, Open the Door, See What You Find, trying to find
a world that's been and gone.
Yeah, I don't know whether he actually does find the world in this album, but yeah. Easy Now. Well, that's another one that I thought sounded a bit like one of the old Oasis.
Yeah.
Mellow.
I do like Easy Now. I do really like it. There's something catchy about it. I even find myself singing in my head, Easy Now.
I wrote down that the title track, Council Skies, that it sort of Bacharach, Jimmy Webb influences. Am I right to say that?
Yeah. It's got that sort of. It's got that sort of 60s sort of bloom, 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 if you know what I mean, behind it. That sort of almost like cheese piano sort of guitar in it. Like,
if there's such a thing as a rocking song on this album, is it There She Blows?
Oh, the one about the captain. I think this is the one. I think Noel said that he allegedly may have taken some sort of narcotic or smoked something. Because I think he said, I don't know what the hell it's about commanders and ships and.
It does seem a bit odd. It's the more unusual lyric on the album, certainly.
Yeah. Meet you at the pearly gates, the finest commander that the world has ever seen.
Now, there's two songs on this album. When I heard them, I thought there's a musical bit on it where I'm thinking, I've heard this. He's nicked this from somewhere. Where have I heard this before? Where's he taken this from? And on Love Is a Rich Man, it's the drum beat. It's the intro. And then, of course, it's the Stone Roses, I'm the Resurrection.
Yes, yeah. But there was one on the... there was one on his last album. And it took me ages to realise where... and it was New Order.
Okay.
Very New Ordery. But yeah, it is very, she bangs the drum at the start. The
intro. The drumming.
Yeah.
Just the rhythm and the sound of the drumming.
Yeah.
And then the closing track, Think of a Number. Today, I was listening to it in the car.
I thought you say today, I thought of the number 13.
Well, I did. I thought every time I listen to it, I think of another number. It's
today on Sesame Street.
It's track 10 on the album, if you wanted to know, folks. But there's this bass riff on it. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, doom, doom. And I was thinking, I know this riff. I thought I know this riff. I thought he's got this from somewhere. Where? I said, I know this. Where have I heard this before? And I was trying to think. Well, it's not the Beatles. It's not a Beatles thing. And I was thinking, is it? He hasn't recycled an Oasis one. No, it's not Oasis. And I was thinking, is it the Smiths? No, it's not the Smiths. It doesn't sound like the Smiths. And then is it New Order? I don't think so. And I was trying to think of where he might have got it from. I think, was it David Bowie? I know it's something a bit...
Yeah.
Slightly arty, but not massively... what the heck is it?
Shakademus and Pliers?
And then it struck me, and it was so obvious, it's U2, New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I reckon, and Noel Gallagher is known to be a bit of a U2 fan, isn't he? So
him and Bono have been known to frequent a few bars together. Well, Oasis supported U2, didn't they? In '97 in America on the Be Here Now tour.
That's right.
I could be corrected on that. It might not have been part of the Be Here Now tour.
Or was
I'm sure they supported U2. Did they support U2 on the Pop Tour.
Well, that would have been
I don't know.
97. That was 97.
Yeah. So it would have been around that time then. Yeah, taking my glasses off to look weird.
Yeah, serial killer stuff. Ah, that's better.
I'm back.
Yeah.
So take these off. You don't recognise me, like
No,
Superman.
not at all. No.
Put them back on. Back in the room.
So there we go. I mean, have you got any more thoughts? And where do you think this stands compared to him and Liam's solo output and Oasis? I mean, where does it rank?
Well, I know he gets a lot of. I'm on a few Oasis groups on the Book of Faces, and you will get those die-hard Oasis fans who are like, "Oh, it's just rubbish. It's just don't know what he's doing. Why can't he just do Oasis songs and all that?" It's like, well, he could just do Oasis songs, but why? You know, as an artist, you're only going to grow by trying new things, aren't you?
Yeah,
you're only going to.
Do they want him to do? When they say that, do they want him to just play Oasis songs? And
no, they want to do songs in the vein of Oasis.
They want him to write more Oasis style songs.
Yeah. So, but those songs in Oasis that Noel wrote, you know, obviously the ones that he didn't sing, he wrote them for Liam's voice.
Yeah,
they are distinctively for Liam to sing. So he couldn't. You know, I think we were talking the other day about. Is it Helter Skelter, the B-side on... Is it All Around the World? Noel can't hit those real rocky...
No, I mean, I think that the version of Helter Skelter was a bit of a disappointment compared to their versions of things like the Slade song and the Who, My Generation, which Liam sang.
My Generation and Street Fighting Man, I think they did as well, didn't they?
Helter Skelter should have been as good as them, but it just wasn't.
I think if Liam had sung it, it would have been. But Noel isn't writing for Liam anymore. He's writing for Noel. Yeah. And like Noel says, he doesn't sit there all day listening to indie music. He's into all sorts of different things. So he's going to be influenced by a lot of different things.
Yeah. Well, some of these songs are not entirely removed from Oasis songs, but
no, there's going to be a core of it, isn't there, in his DNA makeup, because that's what he's used to. Oh, look at that! I've just found £10 in my pocket.
Well, certainly, what the song like? What's the song on? It's one of the B-sides from Be Here Now. It was on the Master Plan album, and it's one of the mellow acoustic-y ones. He still performs it now. Oh, what's it called?
One Way Road?
No, before that. Going nowhere.
Going Nowhere on a Train. Yeah, he's just released a version of it, hasn't he? Live at Abbey Road.
Well, that's a typical Noel Gallagher song, and that could have been from his solo career. But there's an Oasis song, so he's doing some songs that are like Oasis.
Yeah. I would say Liam caters for the people who want that Oasis vibe. Yeah. And those people like myself who enjoyed Noel's B-sides that Noel sang, that's what he's giving you now. It just might be a bit more sonic, cosmic rock version of that. So, in that respect, it's, you're not going to please everybody all of the time, unfortunately.
No. I mean, I must admit, I was a big Liam fan of Oasis. Liam's vocals were one of the things about Oasis that I really liked. And I obviously do like the songs. I did like all the Noel sung B-sides as well. But to listen to a whole album where it's just Noel on vocals, I could see that you have to be a bit tuned in to Noel, Yeah. He's not as exciting as Liam.
No, but people often say that's where Standing on the Shoulders of Giants fell down, it kind of grinds down with the two Noel tracks back to back. I think it's the only time on an Oasis album where they thought, they did that. Where did it all go wrong? And Sunday Morning Call.
Yeah.
But there was nowhere else on that album they could have gone. So I think they worked quite well there.
Well, it was a relatively low-key album anyway, wasn't it, that one?
Yeah, it was. That was the hangover after the party the night before. That was the Sunday morning.
Well, I can understand why people would like an album where it's mainly Liam on vocals and a couple of Noel vocals, and then that's fine. But to have, when it's all Noel for 10 songs, you have to be, if you don't totally dig Noel, that, I can see why some people wouldn't, would get bored with it. But that's it, isn't it? You have to be tuned into him. But I have to say, vocally on this record, his voice is now, mid-50s?
56.
Yeah. His voice, to me, I haven't gone and made a direct comparison with some of the older ones, but it doesn't. He still sounds exactly like Noel Gallagher.
I
I
think he's
can't.
improved. I think
Yeah,
he's...
I'm not hearing any degradation of his voice that I can
No,
tell.
no.
And maybe he has become a bit better as a singer. Maybe, yeah, that's very
Well,
possible.
he often said he'd perfected the art of standing at one end of the stage and playing guitar, and then for 2 songs, come on, do his acoustic bit, and then bugger off to the other side of the stage again. And I think it takes a little while. It's like, I suppose it's like signing for a new football team. It takes you a
Yeah,
little while to
yeah.
bed in.
Yeah, I
So,
guess for him, I hadn't thought about that before. I guess for him going solo was a bigger change than it was for Liam, because Liam doing his solo show is kind of the same as what he did in Oasis,
yeah, because he never wrote...
stand in the middle
Yeah,
behind the mic and belt out all the songs. Whereas for
yeah.
Noel,
And
it's a
like
totally
Liam,
different.
yeah, and Liam has said, I never wrote the songs in Oasis, so to be writing albums now with other people, it's
Yeah,
no different to what he was doing before. So
yeah, but certainly for the live show, it's for Noel, it's a very different experience to be
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah,
the front man for the whole gig, which he
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
before. I hadn't really thought about that aspect of it before, but
See, I've given you something to contemplate, Philip.
yeah. I will ponder that for days. Noel's different experience on a live stage.
Yeah, yeah. It must have been how you felt when I was off poorly and you having to do all your solo
Oh, I had
videos.
to do my solo videos. Yeah, that was exactly.
Yeah, was that you? But now let's put that into context. Do you think were you Noel Gallagher solo, or were you Gary Barlow solo?
When I was doing my
Yeah. Rate yourself, Philster. Rate yourself.
I think I'm probably some other artist solo who left a great band and their solo career went downhill rapidly. I
Gary
think
Barlow.
maybe
I'll tell you who did. That bloke from Razorlight, what's his name? Johnny Burrell. He released an album called Burrell 1, and I think it sold about 12 copies.
okay. I'm just trying to think of solo artists that haven't been done. Art Garfunkel, people from a duo who went solo and then they weren't quite. He had some success, but not as much as Paul Simon.
Andrew Ridgeley.
I'm probably more the Andrew Ridgeley. Just disappeared without trace.
Tanned, handsome.
Yeah, maybe not that aspect, but the fact that disappeared without trace. Maybe the
Friends with Pepsi and Shirley.
Yeah, or let's not go down this path. We're trying to talk Noel Gallagher, so
okay. We'll get back onto Noel.
We'll go back onto Noel. So that's it, Council Skies. Have you any more thoughts on it?
No, not from my voice. I think I've said it. It's a very emotionally deep video. It's quite sonically beautiful. If you were just to listen to the sort of tracks without any vocal, they are very, like I've said before, it's like a comforting blanket, isn't it?
Mm.
That's what It's not going to, like I say, it's not going to light up a rave at 3 o'clock in the morning, but it's a very good album. Like I said, I think I might like Who Built the Moon slightly better because it's got those more up-tempo tracks on it, like She Taught Me to Fly and Holy Mountain, those sort of things. So and I know a lot of people sort of don't like Who Built the Moon because I don't think they get it. I think that's the trouble. But I would say, I would think this is probably my second favourite Noel solo album. And
Okay.
I will say one thing as well. Bear in mind it's now almost 30 years next year, which is only a week or so away, that Definitely Maybe came out. Noel Gallagher, Damon Albarn, I've got to say, two of those songwriters from the 90s who are still around now, would you say that their songwriting hasn't diminished? Their songwriting is actually improving.
They're certainly still making acclaimed records and having success, and they're not.
Yeah. And I think that says a lot about, Noel as a songwriter, that doesn't seem to be. He's not reached that press play to whatever period of his career or whatever it was that Paul McCartney released. He's not released
press
an
to play.
album that's There's not an album where you say it's a real dip in form. There's always that consistency.
There are defenders of press to play, though. Bear in mind, I must admit that's a McCartney album I'm not that familiar with, so I can't. I mustn't join in the dissing of it. I do like the title song, although it's very 80s production on there.
Yeah, but you can't say, if you looked at all of Noel's songwriting. I mean, some people may say Be Here Now, and it tailed off with Oasis, but there's nothing I would say is like you'd pull on and go, oh, I can't listen to that. That's dreadful.
No, and he hasn't done anything like. I mean, a lot of the people who were great in the 60s and 70s had a bit of a tough time in the 80s, didn't they?
Yeah.
And Noel hasn't. Him and Damon Albarn, they don't seem to have had a period quite as bad as that. And they also didn't do anything like Mick Jagger and David Bowie dancing in the street. So
or
that's
Frog Chorus.
Exactly. So they've
Thomas the Tank Engine.
They've retained their dignity.
They have indeed. They haven't. That video is. Or what's that video with Mick Jagger? He's running down the street with a really bad green screen where he's.
It's one of the songs on She's the Boss, isn't it? The solo album. I can't remember the song now. I know the one you mean. He's running along a raised roadway in America, some city in America. Yeah.
If I was an artist during that period and Mick Jagger rang me up and said, "Oh, hi mate, I really want you to be in one of my videos," I'd be like, "No, sorry, Mick, I'm busy," because they were awful. That's two awful videos. But I think it's almost done in a way that that they know that that they know that it's awful.
I think they had to be knowing that it was cheesy, didn't they? Surely for those.
Yeah. But I will say, Phil, certainly I'll hold up one of my limited edition versions. I am giving this album 4.25 Phil and Ben's P&Bs out of 5.
Okay. Well, I was listening to this and thinking it's definitely a 3-star album for sure, which means good. That's not bad. That means it's good. And if you're a fan of the artist, it's a totally solid album, and it's not weak. Not got too many weak spots on it or anything like that. And if I listen to it more, I think it probably would get up to a 4. And if I listen to it properly, perhaps not in the car, and I was listening on a bit more of a hi-fi connoisseur basis, I might hear the arrangements better and everything.
Oh, yes, I listen to it on a hi-fi.
Or I put it on some decent headphones. I might go up in my estimation, but I think it's solid. I think it probably needs to grow on me a bit more. But I would say,
if you're a hairy wart.
I think you have to be a fan of Noel, and I think you have to be a fan of his more reflective, downbeat style. Don't expect Oasis on this album, or don't expect to compare it to Liam's latest album. But if you've got that expectation, then you'll probably like it.
Yeah, fully agree.
2 thumbs up then for Council Skies. Thank you for watching. Join us for another video where we'll be discussing something totally different, but it will be musical. In the meantime, all the best. Thanks for watching.